Hello everyone and welcome to my channel with my lovely co-host and moving forefather Bertil and my hedgehog in the watering can. His name is Stefan, for those who do not know already and haven't been watching my channel. Now, big huge thank you to my faithful patron Flems. Flems has been my patron for 10 months now. He's a very nice person, and please go join Flems. Flems is a good person, and he wants some company or requires some company. It's boring to be there alone. So it's patreon.com/HeidisCorner, as well as the PayPal link is in the description box. Also, the playlist links are also down there, and Discord server invitations are there as well. Also, fair warning, before we go any further in this video, there will be I will be mentioning depression, anxiety, suicide, self-harm, suicide attempts, discrimination, homophobia, transphobia, etc. The horrible things. So if you are triggered by these topics, I suggest, or too triggered, I suggest you move on to another video of mine. There are the playlist links in the description, so please go check them out. Fun stuff. So this is what my Patreon page look like. There is Unicorn Crew starting at €3 or equivalent in your own currency. Plus, unfortunately, there is the VAT, but it depends. It could be quite a small percentage depending on where you live. And we have up to, we have up to €30 and back to these people. Please go check. Please go check my Patreon. The link will be in below there. Fortunately, there are wonderful resources that are available to pretty much anyone in most of the Western countries. And what I will be referring to here today are the Stonewall, which is a British non-profit organization advocating for LGBTQ plus human rights, etc. And for example, Sir Ian McKellen has been involved in this non-profit. Okay, and this health reports that I got a lot of information from. It was done in 2018, published in November of 2018, and to my knowledge, the data was gathered that year as well. And as it says here, with YouGov, it's an international, British, UK-based international market research company. YouGov research with interviewed 5,000 LGBTQ people in England, Scotland, and Wales about their daily lives nowadays in the UK. This obviously is not the life even in a civilized country mostly a civilized country like the UK. It's not always as easy as you may want to think it is. For example, not so long ago, when the UK government decided to ban conversion therapy, they decided on purpose. They decided to exclude trans people from the conversion therapy ban. So basically, as of right now, in the UK, you're not allowed to perform this quote-unquote conversion therapy on a gay person, but you can do it, but you can legally do it on a trans person, which is quite it's very, very harmful. And I will come to that a bit later in this video. As many of you are aware, anyone can have mental health issues, or especially mental health issues, and some will have problems with substance abuse at some point in their lives, whether it be illegal drugs, opioids, alcohol, or whichever substance you can misuse. But and the mental health issues, that happens to everyone. That is not only for LGBTQ people to have mental health problems, which most of you probably already knew. At least I hope most of you already knew this. But there are people who then are of the opinion that no, it's only the substance abuse people who already have a substance abuse problem, or only the queer people. Why? I honestly I don't know. It's just beyond my understanding. But however, I will link all kinds of support material, like i.e. helpline numbers for at least for the UK, and resources that I think many of you may find helpful, may find useful. Yeah, so everyone can have these mental health issues. That is a fact. Quite many people do. However, of the variety of different mental health issues, statistically speaking, according to research, and for example, this LGBT in Britain health reports gathered by Stonewall and YouGov research, and YouGov, the UK-based British international market research company, are more like LGBTQ plus people are statistically more likely to be susceptible and have mental health issues, and these include, but are not limited to, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, and this would include social anxiety, quite often due to social gender dysphoria, as well as not feeling safe in a particular environment, for example, a social situation or healthcare, which I'll come to later in this video. But also eating problems, having to do with the self-image for trans people is not unheard of either, especially in trans people. It's not completely unheard of being more prevalent in these groups of people. Misusing drugs and alcohol when these mental health issues, anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, they often resort to alcohol and substance abuse. But there is, in certain groups of LGBTQ plus people, they are less likely to use alcohol and more likely to use illegal drugs, which I find really interesting, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in this video. And trans people, and also we're talking about self-harm and suicidal tendencies. and other mental health problems. And I should also mention that the percentage of LGBTQ plus people attempting suicide is a lot higher than the people in the general populace. I should also mention that being LGBTQ plus does not cause these problems, but being LGBTQ plus makes you a bit more susceptible. In modern society, it makes you a bit more susceptible because you face discrimination, harassment, stigmatization, etc. The reason why queer people get these are, as I said, stigmatization and discrimination by society, by the system, and peers, bad experiences coming out to, say, family, friends, at school, etc. And according to this LGBT in Britain Health 2018, 52% of LGBT people have experienced depression within the past year leading up to the study, and 13% of those aged 18 to 24, 13% of LGBTQ plus people aged 18 to 24 attempted suicide, in comparison to 6 to 7% in general populace aged 16 plus in the UK. So it's more double, almost, depending on where you look at, 6 to 7%. So it's double, over double, some are double, roughly double to general populace. Also, trans people have a rate much higher at 46%. 46% of all trans people in between ages 18 and 24 in the UK had attempted suicide at some point in the past year or before or prior to that. Okay, and also 8% had experienced unequal treatments in healthcare, which is way too much, and that probably causes more distrust and makes it more difficult for queer people to go and get treatments for their mental health issues. Also, the LGBTQ plus people, up to a quarter had witnessed discriminatory, not necessarily experienced it themselves, but discriminatory or negative remarks, discriminatory behavior or negative remarks from healthcare staff, and of course these are intolerable. And the social exclusion, isolation, and rejection by family, peers, and society at large contribute greatly to these problems and give them kind of magnify them, really, if you will. Anyway, these figures are intolerable. There's no excuse from society's part and families' parts, from those who these people love and care for. Discrimination isolation, and rejection by society, relatives, and family that can stem from a number of things, and that those are, among other things, age of the LGBTQ person themselves, or the family member or family in question, ethnicity. Some ethnicities, immigrants may or may not be as tolerable towards LGBTQ plus people as some other ethnic groups across the globe. Okay, and then there's religion. Unfortunately, I've talked about the discrimination based on religious beliefs several times on this channel, but I will not go in this video. I won't be going any deeper but any deeper than that there is a huge difference between how Abrahamic religion representatives or believers in Abrahamic religions, meaning Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, versus or Far Eastern religions like Buddhism and Taoism, take a stand on queer people. It can be very, very big. And that can affect, of course, school, but a bit more about that later. Also, obviously, cultural background has to do with it, and that is very, very, very deeply entwined with the religious background. As I mentioned, Abrahamic versus Eastern religions, there's a big difference. Of course, there is also the socio-economical background. Of course, like between upper class, rich, upper class, middle class, low, and who may or may not, who probably have more education and more understanding of the world and how the world around them and how it works. As well as then we have lower class and blue collar backgrounds, who then these lower class, poorer class, working class people may not have so much understanding of, or don't even care, don't give a shit. And it also, I should mention also gender identity, expression, sexuality, and many, many more. And what these discriminatory and isolative rejection type of policies come from is still, when it comes back to education. Even in our modern society, because now we can see there is a tendency now, especially in say when it comes to Europe, in Hungary and Poland, and then of course in the US, where they're trying to purge anything and everything that has to do with LGBTQ, throw it away or seal it in a safe in the basement and crash the building down, fill it up and cement on top every single thing that even remotely mentions LGBTQ. And this is still, and a lot of this discrimination comes back to education, as I said. Outdated views by the older generation teachers, professors, and outdated teachings and the school curriculums, which have a lot to do with how we view LGBTQ plus people. And often it comes to even the lack of mentioning what L, what LGBTQ is, what that there are gay people, bi people, etc. Uh, because for example, myself, I'm from a smaller town, small industrial town, and when I grew up there in the 90s, I don't remember no one ever at the school mentioning anything like a teacher or other staff for that matter even say the word gay. So I heard my friends and my dad use it, but I never really understood what it meant until I was a bit older. Also, this is a very good support page, mind.org.uk. There's a registered charity in England and Wales. Here you can see Mind Infoline. There's also their own helpline with this people, and they are registered charity in England and a registered company in England and Wales. I will provide the link to this page in the description box. I think this is very good in terms of there are also mental health support, supporting someone who's LGBTQ plus. So this has a lot of things to give you. Okay. There are internalized negative feelings, but this is something that I find immensely useful, and I'm actually very grateful that I found this website for you, because I had to do some digging. But as of right now, this is for England and Wales. Charity in England and company in England and Wales. So a bit more about this Stonewall thing. The Stonewall and the YouGov research, they have these quotes. For example, one respondent said, "I got sectioned after a suicide attempt, and the nurse said that my mental health problems were due to allowing Satan in my soul. If I just accepted my true gender, then God could forgive me." This would probably the quote unquote true gender would probably be the sex assigned at birth. And then there's Rosemary, this was Elijah 19 Southeast. Then Rosemary 70 from Wales says, "I am being treated for this depression, which is caused in parts by not being able to access any LGBT senior age related groups within 80 miles of me," which is 120 something, 130 kilometers maybe. I would be actively involved in such group if I could find one, but there is nothing. I feel so very isolated, and this is some of the isolation that I was talking about before. As I said, these issues are very serious. Self-harm is always serious. Any mental health issue is very serious. Suicide attempts, suicides, discrimination, and so forth and so forth. Always very serious, and I can never stress how important it is to seek for help if you decide if you have any if you're experiencing depression, anxiety, grapple with, say, suicidal thoughts, and so forth. And I will be, as I said, I will be linking some helpline numbers, websites, and the study from Stonewall and YouGov research company, as well in the description box. Link to those, and to help to get you some help. Okay, and there are some. I think there's some self help material as well. As stated previously, all these mental health and substance abuse problems can happen to anyone. There is no shame in there's no shame in going out there and asking for help. There is never It's not a bad thing to go and ask for help. I know from a personal experience uh, it can be hard, or, if you have never asked for help from anyone, and even if you have asked help from other people, looking help for or asking help from a healthcare professional, it's not easy. There's still, as mentioned, there's still the stigma. It's typically you're taught, or let's believe, that there's something wrong with asking for help. There's something wrong. There's something inherently wrong with asking for help, and even there's something inherently wrong with you as a person if you have mental health issues or substance abuse issues. But that is not the case. Please, if you have depression, suicidal thoughts, you have maybe done some self harm, please go ask help. We don't want to lose a single person ever. So if we can reduce it even by one, if we can save even one person, that's one step. That's one big step forward, and it's not. And I do realize it's easier said than done. Okay, but please ask for help. Once again, very big, huge thank you to Flems for being my patron. You can head to patreon.com/Heidi's Corner. Link is in the description box down below. You'll find all kinds of fun stuff in my Patreon. Also, PayPal link is down there. Playlist links and invitation links to my Discord servers, Heidi's Corner, my channel server, and then channel server, Heidi's Corner, and then LGBTQ, and then LGBT safe space. Both wonderful places, safe spaces. My moderators are wonderful, and it's good, jolly good, fun and dandy. That is it, and that is what you can find in the description box. And also, I would really appreciate it if you gave me a thumbs up, subscribe, and tickle the notification bell for all notifications when I publish stuff. Okay, that is it for this episode of Random Friday. Today recording studio were, of course, Bertil, our fair little Moomin forefather, and Stefan, and the hedgehog in the watering can. By the time you are watching this video, we are somewhat far into several days into our summer vacation journey, which takes place in Sweden and Denmark. But by then, by the time you see this video, I've already uh, shared some more details about it. You know, what we're gonna do and where we're heading and why and etc. etc. But until next time, thanks for watching.